Okay. Yeah. What do you call it? Yeah. Yeah. You are not listening. You ask the question. When, please let him listen. Yeah. Yeah. So exactly this is what we are talking about, partnership. You want something to manage data. He has developed a solution for that. So I believe you, yeah. He's It's not your solution. Okay, you have a solution for him. Okay, all right. So just listen. That data is too expensive. Is that? Yeah. Do you have anything?
It's called a codec.
Okay.
It's called it's called a codec. CODEC. There is 721, 729 AB. There is ULO, ELO. So in a simple Google search, telecom codec, and each one will tell you with compression
Yeah.
what kind of data you can expect.
Yeah.
You realize sometimes you use Skype, it may ask and take a lot of bandwidth. You use
Yeah.
WhatsApp, it's a different
Yeah.
quality
Yeah.
depending your network. Some applications are capable to adapt. If you're on a broadband connection, you have like 1 meg up and down, it's gonna go to 711, which take like almost a full 64K per second.
Yeah.
But if you are on a very tight bandwidth, you go to a codec like 729, so you can go down to almost 14K duplex.
Yeah.
A real good 14K duplex without too much loss, you have a good communication. So when you develop your application, you need to test it at the same time to make sure you know what kind of bandwidth you are using.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Training. Same issue. Yeah. All right. So
On this compression issue, the same way you have compression with telecom, you have MPEG codec for video. Now, for your client, what do they expect? A 3D beautiful imaging or the sound to be perfect? What are you looking for? Because one thing is sure, data challenge, you're going to have them. And with video, they are even more concerning than voice. So if you can find the proper codec so that there is
communicating internally with your businesses and communicating outwardly is really, really critical. For us, our marketing and communications and PR provide dynamic, impactful, and engaging marketing communication strategies for the Foundation's programs as a whole. They deliver, as you can see all around, in terms of the quality of the branding. Just, for all of you entrepreneurs, this is learning, right? Look at the branding that you've seen all around the campus, yeah? Produced by entrepreneurs like yourself, but directed by the formidable marketing and communications teams within Hayes Holding and the Tony Elumelu Foundation. So they're delivering, and this is what you must deliver for your businesses, high quality, cutting edge content, which speaks to the diversity of Africa across all our activities. It's also about providing a regular flow of information. It's no good you guys succeeding and we don't know. And it's no good you guys succeeding and you do not reference the fact that somewhere in your journey, the Foundation played a role, a formidable role, right? It's really important that you communicate within your businesses, for us internally and externally. It's really important that for us and through our marketing and communication that we cultivate and build relationships with media across the platform. You will see there are 50+ journalists here from across Africa that we have brought to meet with you, to hear your stories. Every single one of you must at least meet one of those journalists and tell them about, and pitch your business, because now you know all about pitching your business. So it's television, it's radio, it's print, it's digital, it's social, to ensure prominent positioning of the Tony Elumelu Foundation's entrepreneurs' stories across Africa. We are leveraging all of those platforms, and I've already mentioned that we have over 1 million views. So that is 1 million people across Africa, across the world, US, the UK, and you won't believe it, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, China, Singapore, India, Russia, they've been watching across Latin America as well. They've been watching this 30-minute documentary. It's not so much that they've been watching the documentary that interests me, it's been that they are interested in the message that the film had to, the work that the Foundation is doing. So the message that, the work of the Foundation has been already heard and seen by 1 million people. And that is what you need to achieve for your own businesses as well. One of the biggest achievements, one of the biggest things that we have achieved this year, we talked about alumni engagement. You remember the 7 pillars of T? We said there's alumni. Alumni for us isn't, oh, you've graduated, bye, and we hope you have, a successful business. The alumni for us is fundamental to the ongoing sustainability of the Foundation, is fundamental to the sustainability of your businesses. Remember, we are building a movement. Remember, we're building Africa's biggest network of African entrepreneurs, yeah? Alumni networks are only as strong, as powerful, as the amount that you, as the members of the alumni, invest in it. You invest 0, you get 0 back, right? You know as entrepreneurs, we know as entrepreneurs why being part of the alumni is important for our survival. So in early this year, we appointed an alumni engagement manager whose job it is to engage with you, and your job is to engage with her, and together to develop activities that are going to benefit you as entrepreneurs, resources that are going to benefit your business. So amongst the things that we're doing, we're building country chapter. It takes one person to start a network. I've done it. I've set up many, many networks in my career, right? If there isn't a network, it will take one Tony Elumelu entrepreneur to start that network in Algeria, in Tunisia, in Libya, in Eritrea, in any of those countries, right? In Nigeria, we have 600 of you guys this year. You have no excuse but not to form the country, the state chapters. So we are setting up, we're working with our entrepreneurs to set up alumni chapters across the 54 African countries. That means that the Tony Elumelu Foundation will have a virtual presence in 54 African countries without, building a building and putting a name on it, right? You are the Tony Elumelu Foundation, as we call them, at that local level, facilitated by the local networks, is being structured. We've done that over the last 2 years, and we will continue to do that and work with our network. I've talked about the hub. Here are some of the things that you will be able to access on the hub. We will have 2,000 business profiles of all the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs. It's one of the things that an entrepreneur needs is access to marketplace, right? And also being able to market their products and services to each other. The hub is where you're going to be able to do it. Before you get your seed capital this year, you have to complete your business profile on the entrepreneurship hub, on the Tony Elumelu Foundation hub. Without that, you will not get seed capital, okay? I promise you. You know why I say that? Because, people take the seed capital and say bye-bye, thank you. And then we occasionally hear, or I run into them, like I ran into some of them in America, the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. He said, how the hell did you get here? And they said, we applied. And we got selected. And I said, what? There was severe competition. How do you think you got selected? They said, you know what? We think we benefited from the Tony Elumelu Foundation's program, right? Well, please tell us that you applied. Please tell us you got accepted, all expense paid, to go from wherever you are in Africa. There was an Egyptian entrepreneur, they were from all over. 15 of the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs got selected to go to GES, all expenses paid. And every single one of them will tell you that it is because of the training, because of the skills, because of the networks that they build, yeah? Because they are able to now pitch themselves as a serious business, that they were able to compete on that global platform.
Please, can we sit down, please, please? I have a fantastic speaker who has a hard stop and needs to leave at a certain time. So let's get the best. Adeze, can you guys help me go round everybody up, please? Uche, please go round everybody up from outside. Sound. Can I have the sound technician, please? Sound. Lillian, Dr. Epo, could we settle down, please? Toyin, please, could you go get everybody outside so that they all come in, please? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. As we settle down.
Hello. Before we restart, please, the security man picked up a bag that was left by one of, I think, the Elumelu entrepreneurs. If you left your bag on your seat when you went out for the breakout session, the bag is here. Come and get the bag. Somebody also left his or her phone. They have the picture of Hadiza and Rejoice stuck at the back. That's your phone. All right.
What's your proof of ownership?
There is a black bag here that was left behind, so let's have your bag.
So, good evening, everyone. Good evening. How was the session? I heard the A word. Say it well. Okay, before we get into the improvement area, can we first appreciate the people who came to run it for us? Can we give them a round of applause? I'm sure we can do better than that. And may we also just appreciate, we have a number of people who've come here from various parts of the world just to be with us. Let's just give a round of applause. Yeah. I would like to have a special mention for Noella Musuka. Just wave. So Noella took the creative and fashion industry section, but she came all the way. She paid her way, everything. She had some challenges even getting a visa, but she just kept on, very resilient. Can we appreciate her again, please? Yeah. So Noella will be speaking to us later this evening. Charles?
Hello? Hello? I'm a bit hesitant with starting this segment of the program. We thought that by now the hall will be very full. We all have come back from our breakout session, but we don't have time and we have to start. Because for me, this is one of the most interesting part of today's event. In the next 45 minutes, 1 hour thereabouts, we're going to be talking about how organizations are supporting African entrepreneurs. How many of us like to know how organizations are supporting African entrepreneurs? How many of us? That's why we're here. Exactly. So we've carefully selected some representative of key organizations across Africa, and they will be talking to us about how they are supporting businesses like yours. I would go ahead to quickly call on the panelists, and I will invite them in no particular order. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome from Mr. Emeke Iwerebo. A round of applause for Mr. Emeke Iwerebo. Mr. Emeke Iwerebo is the CEO of Francophone Africa for United Bank for Africa, UBA PLC. UBA PLC is a Pan-African financial brand that is in 19 countries. Now you ask me why Francophone Africa. We have two CEOs running the Africa division of UBA. Mr. Emeke Iwerebo is one of them. We have another CEO that is running the Anglophone part of UBA. He would also be joined on the panel by Mr. Clement Ugoji. A round of applause for Mr. Clement Ugoji. Mr. Clement Ugoji is from Coca-Cola. Yeah, here, another round of applause. Coca-Cola. They're doing quite a lot for Africa, and you'll get to know in the course of the program. We would also be joined on stage by Jiba Diallo. A round of applause for Jiba Diallo. She is a startup engagement lead for Microsoft for Africa. The startup engagement lead for Microsoft for Africa. Thank you. Our final panelist is the CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Segun Awolowo. It looks like our entrepreneurs are already feeling the impact of the Export Promotion Council, led by Mr. Segun Awolowo. It's our desire to have all of you produce for Nigeria and also to export across Africa and across the world. Now, this panel will be moderated by our very own Mrs. Toyin Sani. Mrs. Toyin Sani is the CEO, the group CEO for United Capital. United Capital is the only investment banking firm that is quoted on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. It's a market leader in that segment. She's a lawyer, a chartered secretary, a stockbroker with over 25 years experience in investor services, law, finance, investment banking. I can go on and on and on and on. And even though she's going to be moderating this session, she would also be telling us what United Capital can also do for entrepreneurs as an investment banking outfit. I'm sure some of us will be wondering, okay, we're a startup. When would we be big enough to be able to attract the kind of capital that United Capital would be able to attract for us? But from what you've been hearing all day, don't think small, dream big. And with the support of the Tony Elumelu Foundation and with your determination, you'll make it happen. Madam, over to you. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our distinguished panel.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this panel discussion. I'm truly excited to be in the midst of amazing African entrepreneurs who are breaking barriers, breaking glass and even metallic ceilings across Africa, disproving stereotypes, breaking new frontiers and barriers, doing amazing things, creating new platforms. I mean, I moderated a small session in the last set of meetings, and I was truly impressed by some of the creative ideas that you guys are coming up with. Very quickly, we will go into this panel session. I'm truly delighted to have really knowledgeable and accomplished panelists, and they have all been introduced already. I think the only thing I would like to add to the introduction is that Mr. Clement Ugoji is Public Relations Director, I believe, Public Affairs and Corporate and Communications Director at Coca-Cola, West Africa. Thank you. So now I think you are fully introduced. So I will kick this off with Emeke on my extreme left. And Emeke, like we've been told, is CEO, Francophone Africa at United Bank for Africa. Now, access to finance is a key challenge for small and medium scale businesses. Am I correct? And also even for the micro ones as well. I would like to know what UBA does to bridge the typical barriers that these classes of businesses face in accessing funding, and whether you have specific solutions that you can share with us for this group of prospective clients. I'm sure everybody in this hall would love to bank with UBA. Am I correct? So Emeke, tell us what you have for the entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much, Tony. First of all, I want to say welcome to all our entrepreneurs from all over Africa. For those who are French speaking, I say bienvenue. For those who are Portuguese speaking, I say bem-vinda. And then welcome, obviously, in English. Now, in looking at the entrepreneurial ecosystem, there are two things that we see that regularly come forth in our discussions with businesses and entrepreneurs. One is access to finance, like Tony mentioned. The second has to do with access to skills and capacity. Now, in UBA, we face those issues consistently. And we've come out, we have programs, we have initiatives to address these issues. On access to skills and capacity, what we do as a bank is that we provide to all our customers in need of support. We provide programs, we organize programs, we organize fora for industry group, industry associations, and even technology-interested entrepreneurs across all the countries where we do business. UBA is in 19 African countries, so our focus is in the entire range of all the countries we do business. Now, what we face, what our entrepreneurs face on a regular basis is not just looking for money to set up a business, seed capital and working capital finance, which I'll come to, but also how to run a business and run it well. The skills required to nurture a business from startup to sustainability. We provide such support, not just in our branches, which we do, but we also go to where the customers are, where the entrepreneurs are, in their different associations, meet with them, understand what their challenges are in building businesses, in dealing with regulators, in dealing with compliance issues, in dealing with environmental issues, and provide guidance on how this can be resolved. We also face, our entrepreneurs also face issues on trade. They are at times confronted on how to make their, how to sell their goods outside their local markets. A lot of them at times are not very familiar with the processes involved in exports, in imports, and the regulations, the foreign exchange and trade regulations involved in all these things, in all these processes. What we do as a bank is that we meet with them, those who are interested in exports, we inform them of the opportunities, and then go through the regulations and requirements so that it'll be easy for them to initiate the sale process with exporters, with importers abroad. Now, on access to finance, our entrepreneurs across tell us that they face two basic issues: seed capital and working capital. A lot of the time, what we find interesting is that our entrepreneurs want capital to grow their business from the current platform where they are, the base platform, to a higher level. Now, we have numerous products, credit products, to support our customers in the area of working capital, in the area of even medium to long-term capital finance. And how do we do this? We have what we internally we call product financing for different segments. If you find yourself, for instance, in agriculture, in petroleum products trade, in IT, in other forms of trade, we have specialists who are available, who are willing to spend time with you, understand the nature and dynamics of your business, and provide you with guidance on the kind of financing that is appropriate for your business.
Thank you very much, Emeke. I'm going to cross over to the lady on the panel, and that is Ms. Diba Diallo, Startup Engagement Lead at Microsoft for Africa. Now, when you have a room full of about 1,000 African entrepreneurs, what comes to your mind is the amazing opportunities for intra-Africa trade. And I know that there are significant barriers that Africans face doing business with one another. Is there anything that Microsoft for Africa is doing or can do to employ digital technology or to employ technology generally to eliminate some of those barriers or to bridge some of those barriers and facilitate intra-Africa trade? Thank you.
This is better. So thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the Tony Elumelu Foundation and to congratulate you for the great job that you did in putting this event together. And I would like to say congratulations to all the entrepreneurs that are here. You guys are very courageous, really. You really deserve to be there. So before responding to your question, I need to step back and to talk about the Microsoft for Africa Foundation, initiative. So I think many people knows about Microsoft, but maybe not about the initiative. So it's a program that Microsoft launched almost 4 years ago, and it's about helping African countries and African population leverage ICT to accelerate the development of the continent. And it's based on various activities that we are doing, going from enabling access to IT, to the population, access to internet, access to devices, enabling also skills by trainings, by having experts coming in the field to train the populations, having also our own colleagues from over the world, so through a program called My Skill for Africa, where every organization in Africa can ask for a Microsoft employee to come and help on any kind of domain. It can be an internship program that we are doing for organizations across Africa. And the one that I'm managing is the innovation pillar. So it's about supporting the ecosystem and the startups to help them grow their business. And I would like to tell you the journey that we are having with the startups. So it starts with access to the technology. We are a technology company, that's what we do. So I think Parmida talked about the Bespark program. We offer free access to our technology to the startup so that they don't invest on that part. They can focus on their own business. Then we don't leave them alone. We make sure that they know how to use that technology. So we offer them training. It can be online training. It can be someone coming to help them. It can be expert coming to understand their business and help them use the technologies that we are offering to even make their solution better. We help them on getting access to talent through the internship program that I was talking about. And once we make sure that the technology is working perfectly, that the solution is ready, we help them have visibility through social medias, through the media, through PRs. One thing that we really invest in is making sure that they have the right strategy for their business. So we invest heavily on that part. We work with them, and we have agencies that are taking time to understand their business and coming back with business plans, giving them ideas on how they can improve their business. And then we help them get access to customers. That's, I think, critical for them. Parminder said something this morning. She said that entrepreneurs don't need money. Do you agree with that? Well, I can tell you, I think that before getting the money, you need services. You need support. You need experts. You need many people helping you, the people that have expertise and knows how the market works. And that's really what we are focusing on before talking about investing something. We invest, but believe me, before investing something, you have to work very, very hard. And that's from the experience that we have. I remember a few years ago, we sponsored a competition for startup. It was in Senegal. And a few months after the final, we were surprised because one of the team members, the team that won, he used the money to get a second wife. I mean, at some point, we were like, oh, we need to make sure that this kind of things won't happen anymore. So that's really important for us. We want to make sure that we give you the value first, and once your business is really sustainable, then we can talk about that. And what is important for us also, we are a technology company, but we give you visibility to investors so that they are the people who put a lot of money in your company. That's really important. So talking about the barriers. So since the launch of the initiative, we have been working with several startups across the continent because we are covering all the continent. And one thing which is very important for us is to make sure that they can scale their business. That's really, really important. Not only on the solution that they are offering, improve the solution so that they are providing more services to their customers, but also can go in other countries. I mean, the African countries are so similar. I mean, we are almost facing the same issues, and the market is so big. Why are we looking for, I mean, US or Asia? Or the market is there. People need our solutions, and we have the entrepreneurs that can create those solutions. So that's really scalability on the geographical space is very important for us.
Thank you so very much. Jiba, please give her a round of applause. Excellent response. Now I'm going to turn to you, Clement. We've got multinationals, we've got big business operating in Africa. We've got companies like Coca-Cola making a huge ton of money across the continent. And the question is, in what ways are businesses like Coca-Cola creating opportunities within your ecosystem for entrepreneurs like the ones we have in this room to grow, whether within your supplier chain, whether in your distribution outlets? How can entrepreneurs like these wonderful people in this room plug in to the vision of Coca-Cola? Are there opportunities for them? And what is Coca-Cola doing to make that happen? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. First, before I start, let me also echo the sentiments that my colleagues have expressed to say for everyone who is here today, I say congratulations. And as you start on this, your journey to entrepreneurship, we wish you the very best because you are the hope for Africa. Like we know, we need more entrepreneurs. We need entrepreneurs to break the barriers. We need entrepreneurs to create value. We need entrepreneurs, to innovate within our economies and to make Africa exactly what it ought to be. First and foremost, let me give a small context, very briefly about Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has been in Africa for 90 years now. And as you all know, we are in every country, every territory, every city, every town, every hamlet, every village, every street, and I believe I should say every family, every kitchen, every dining table, and every fridge in the continent. And so that is something that I believe that, we all know very well. And across the continent, we employ over 70,000 people directly in our operations, which makes us one of the largest employers of labor in the continent. We are also a strong believer in the continent. For us, Africa is the growth engine of the world economy, and that is the future of our business, which is the reason why we've placed so much emphasis in growing our business and also growing the communities in Africa, and I'm going to talk about that shortly. Over the past 10 years, between 2010 and the projection is to 2020, the next 3 years, we plan to spend $17 billion as an investment in Africa. That is an average of $1.7 billion in Africa every year. I am not sure that there are many companies who have that clout, who have that willingness, or who have that passion for the continent, the much we do. Why am I giving you this context? I just want you to imagine what is the opportunity for entrepreneurs within these things that I have talked about. In every country on the continent, we have our operations. We have 145 bottling plants spread across this continent. For every of those plants, they will need fruits, which we use for our ingredients. Think about orange, think about pineapple, think about sugar cane, think about passion fruit, think about mangoes, and in which continent across all the world can you get the best yield of these fruits other than Africa? As I sat in the hall earlier in the day when the sessions were breaking out, I was excited to see that half the hall were going for the agriculture session. It gladdened my heart because that's the future of this continent for us. And that is the future of our business at Coca-Cola, by the way. So if you imagine the level of business we play in this continent, just imagine what opportunity there is for everyone who really wants to take agriculture seriously. Now, in this continent, we have a program we call Source Africa. And what essentially it is doing is looking inwards within Africa to become a strategic sourcing center for our ingredients, whether it is mango, whether it is orange, whether it is pineapple or sugar cane or whatever. We want to make Africa the centerpiece of our supply chain in Africa. One question I would like to ask here, these are entrepreneurs. How many people, how many of you are in the Coca-Cola distribution chain as your business? That's no one. We have 1,000 entrepreneurs in this hall, and not one person has seen the opportunity. Oh, great. Thank you. Second question I want to ask is, how many of you here today has the ambition to become a bottler of Coca-Cola drinks? I don't see any hands up. Are you intimidated? Great. So, you see, the opportunities are around us every day. All we need to do is open our eyes, ask questions, and get a bit more hungry and a bit more aggressive about what we want to do with what is around us. Now, I'd like to talk specifically in terms of what we're doing for entrepreneurship in Africa. I've talked about Source Africa. And Source Africa is something that is across the continent. We are looking for people who can produce consistently the volume and the quality of fruits that will be necessary for us to drive the growth projections that we have on this continent. And for a company as big as Coca-Cola, you can imagine the appetite we would have for oranges and for those fruits that I've talked about. But you've got to produce according to standards. You've got to produce according to quality. And you've got to give us the guarantee that your consistency of supply is something that we can build our business upon, because that is very critical. And I think these are areas that perhaps, governments and those who are interested in building up startups should help them create capabilities and competencies to handle that. One other thing I want to say is this: Coca-Cola has a very special love relationship with women. And that is because over the years, and I say it because over the years, our businesses have been built on women. Women are the bedrock of our distribution chain. Here in Nigeria, for instance, more than 75% of our distribution and retail chain are owned and operated by women. And I'd like to say that there is hardly anyone in this hall who cannot remember a woman who sells Coca-Cola or who has sold Coca-Cola once. We started operations in this country in terms of bottling the drinks here since 1953. And from that time, women have been the bedrock of that business. You would agree with me that in those days, it was uncommon for women to go to office work. So Coca-Cola provided a great platform for women to be a mother, to be a wife, and still be a business person. All you needed was to have a kiosk by the side of your house, okay? You could do your business, you could still cook your food in the kitchen, you could take care of your babies, and whatever it is you want to do, still be prepared for your husband when he comes back from work.
In other words, you can still go to the other room. And this created great opportunity for women to plug into that platform. And that is how come women have dominated that business till today as I talk to you. We have women who started with just some bottles of Coca-Cola or one crate of Coca-Cola. Today, they are what we call mega distributors. Some of them are doing in excess of 200,000 cases in a year. Some of their businesses have grown to as much as $2 to $3 million revenue on an annual basis. Last year, we did an exercise, and I was surprised to see that there are so many women who have got master's degree, and a few of them have got doctorate degrees as distributors of Coca-Cola. Why would you fail if you are a distributor of Coca-Cola? Think about it. There will always be need for Coca-Cola. People will always come to your home. You would always want to entertain them. Parties will never cease in our cities. I mean, the demand will always be there, and you can't fail because the demand is there, and you've got the power of the company that stands behind you to ensure that you succeed. I don't want to take much of the time, but I believe I'll have opportunity to talk more. Never give the microphone to a marketer until everybody else has spoken. Thank you, but sincerely, for me, you made a great point, which is that Coca-Cola has over the years given an opportunity for women to rise from the micro level to become big distributors over time without disrupting their other commitments, family commitments and all that. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Please give a round of applause to our panelists. Now, as you spoke, you came to the big elephant in the room, government, the role of government. And he said it. He said, this is where the government needs to play a role. Am I correct? So we have on this panel, Mr. Segun Awolowo. He is CEO of Nigerian Exports Promotion Council. And what we want to know is, with what has happened in African markets and even in Nigeria, with sharp drop in commodity prices and what has happened with our currency value going down relative to other currencies, this is obviously the best time for the export industry. I would like you to take a couple of minutes to tell us what NEPC has done and is doing to catalyze greater activity and significant growth in the export industry at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. First, let me echo the sentiments there and congratulate the Tony Elumelu Foundation for this wonderful initiative. Let me let me also congratulate the entrepreneurs gathered here today. You are really the future of Africa. How many of you are lawyers? How many lawyers are here? Okay, just one. Okay, I came into this hall with a sense, very nostalgic feelings. I used to sit at the back there where the two guys in green sit. Yeah, that used to be I used to sit around there. In the morning lectures, it was very good. I could keep. But we had a woman outside catering there. She sold this very nice pounded yam and a forced stew. So after that, then you had to come back for the evening lectures. So of course, I was sleeping. Just there. But I had my girlfriend. She didn't sleep. She was very serious. So I would copy her notes. So I ended up, I married her. So I'm really thrilled to be here with you. The economy is in a recession. Why are we in a recession? We only concentrated and had our focus on oil. In 2014, Nigeria had earned $70 billion from oil. In 2015, it was $40 billion. The figures going to come out now, 2016, is going to be even less. So that's why there is this a big problem in the economy, because there's a shortfall of revenue. Meanwhile, we have an import bill of over $50 billion. When you are making 70 billion, you could pay off your import bill, so that was okay. But now when you're earning less, it's a cause for concern. So this is the time really when we really have to focus. And this is the same story true for Africa, from Ghana to South Africa to Angola. It's the same story, because Africa for a long time has been a commodity-based economy. So now is the time we're now looking, and this is just amazing. You know, I walked in here this afternoon, and there was a strong energy, a very strong energy I felt with the entrepreneurs, and I knew that the future for Africa is indeed going to be great. The government has, Nigeria, we've been talking about diversification of the economy. It was one former governor of Lagos that said, look, we talk about diversification. We look at diversification in the window and we wave, oh, diversification, how are you? We just wave at diversification. But diversification has come now, it has opened the door, and it has come and it has sat next to us and said, okay, now I'm here. What are you going to do with me? What is the government going to do? The focus, of course, is to, let's go back to our history and what we used to do. This nation has really been a nation of traders and trading, and we used to trade a lot. But when oil came, we forgot about that. So we now look backwards, what can we do? Government has the two major plans out. It's the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan. I'm sure the first one amongst you are Googling it up as we speak. Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan and the National Enterprise Development Program. Now, the second one is probably more in tune with what we're doing here. That's the National Enterprise Development Program, NEDEP. Now, under that program, the idea is to, we've been boasting about the number of SMEs we have. Over 17 million SMEs in Nigeria, creating over 30 million jobs. But what are they creating in terms of value to the economy? I'm talking about money. What are they creating? And that's the challenge, and that's the bridge that NEDEP is supposed to do. We launched it with a $200 billion Naira fund and sailing through all our, most of our banks. So you are identified as an SME or MSME, you have access to this finance at single digits. And that's the idea. So I want you to look it up and join it. But then again, you are better off also joining the various the groups we have, because let me go to them for you. If you are a small and medium entrepreneur, you should really join the National Association of Small and Medium Enterprises. How many of you have heard of that association? Just a few. Yeah, you must register and join, because you will miss out on many advantages that it brings. There's also the National Association of Chambers and Commerce, Industries, Mines, and you're an entrepreneur. You must join many of these chambers of commerces all around. If you're in Lagos, there is Port Harcourt, all these chambers, you need to be part of them, so you don't miss out on what is going on. Well, when you become big, then you join the Manufacturers Association. But we also have the government agencies that work with entrepreneurship. We have the SMEDAN, that's the Small and Medium Scale Development Agency of Nigeria. So you need to key into what SMEDAN is doing. SMEDAN is going to be running the NEDEP plan, so you need to key into that and then see where you can harness growth for your business. There's also the Industrial Training Fund that helps to train. They organize a lot of training programs all across the country. So you need to key into that. We in the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, our main job is really to transform this economy from an oil economy. President Buhari came in and meeting with a group of manufacturers. He said, this country must begin to behave as if it had no oil at all, because we understand what oil has cost for us. So we have the zero oil plan, and out of that, we identified 11 sectors where Nigeria has comparative advantage in, and of those 11 sectors, 9 of them were in the agric business. So if you are into agric, you are looking at the right direction. We identify the products and where to sell them outright, where that is the demand for them. Many of you will go onto our website, nepc.gov.org. You will see the zero oil plan. You see many of these sectors, and then you see where you can key in. But mostly the key, again, is finance, as we raised. And we're working with a lot of banks. Of course, UBA is one of them. A lot of banks are keying in on how to benefit from this government largesse and to transfer it to entrepreneurs like yourself so you can grow the economy. We need you to grow the economy, and we're in full support of that. I will stop here so I don't take too much, and then when we come around again. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Olawa. Please, let's give him a proper round of applause. Okay, you've heard from all the panelists. They're still going to have an opportunity to speak, but this time they will be addressing your specific questions. So in a couple of minutes, I'm going to throw these open to the floor. Before I do that, I was challenged by our MC, Charles, that I should tell you also about what United Capital does. So I am Group CEO at United Capital PLC. We're a leading African investment banking group. We have within United Capital 4 businesses: investment banking, asset management, trust services, and securities trading. Now, within our investment banking business, we raise capital for African institutions, African companies, and This is both by way of project finance and also by way of capital markets, which is debt capital and equity capital. So in a couple of years' time, when your businesses continue to grow as they are growing, and you want to raise capital from the capital market, we will be available to advise you. At this stage, we also have our structured finance desk that operates as advisors for SMEs, and we are currently engaging with the Elumelu Foundation and other like organizations with a view to having an incubation fund as a solution in the near future for entrepreneurs like yourselves. I thank you, Mama African Entrepreneur, the CEO of Elumelu Foundation, Pamindever. You are a champion of these entrepreneurs, and we will work with you, God willing. At this point, I will like to call for questions from the audience. And I would like you to signify, as I see some are already signifying by raising up your hands. And then somebody will come to you with a microphone. I think on the whole, we will be able to take 6 questions, looking at the time we've got here. So 6 questions. Introduce yourself and tell us who amongst the panelists your question is directed at. And please, not a contribution, not a lecture, just a question. Thank you very much. Please go ahead. The first person can go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Douglas Agu, promoter and founder of KogbeNews.com. My question goes to the beautifully dressed milady from Microsoft. You made mention earlier that Microsoft will be providing software support. Okay. I want you to clearly explain what kind of software support, just so that those of us that are not IT savvy can, when we have need for it, we could tell our IT manager that we have a certain support facility from Microsoft through Tony Elumelu Foundation. And because most of these IT managers have become ITT, international thief. So please, quickly.
Thank you. Next person, please. We'll take all the questions together.
All right. We would like to distribute the questioning. So we'll take one from the far end, and then we'll come to this side of the room. So please tell us where you're from and ask your question.
Good evening, all. My name is Sunday Olawale. I'm the son of the soil. I'm from Nigeria here. Mr. Awolowo, Daddy Coca-Cola can certainly answer my question. But the question certainly was due from what our daddy from Coca-Cola said in one of your speech. You said, and I quote, certainly we must follow standard quality criteria before you get our produce. Meaning, if you produce some substandard produce, you won't get them from us. So please, I just want you to highlight those quality criteria. Maybe you want us to plant our food beside the water, or you don't want us to.
Thank you.
And please, my fellow South African student here, entrepreneur, I ask you to bring one note for me, please. I've been trying to locate you. If you are here, let me see you.
Okay, we'll come to this, please. Where?
Thank you. Good evening, all. I am Godwin Tudo, the promoter of Gospel's Farm Nigeria. We deal on poultry and fish farming. So my question goes to Ms. Diba Diallo, the Microsoft lady. What is it that Microsoft has to put in place or propose to do to support or aid startups and existing farmers engaged in primary agriculture to enable us ride the trend in this ICT era? Thank you.
My name is Chideberry from...
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Okeni.
Please hold on. Would like the panelists to respond to this question, and we'll take another round of questions. We'll try as much as possible to make this evenly distributed. We like entrepreneurs from Nigeria, but we don't want you to dominate the questioning. So I'm going to have to plead with you. If you're a Nigerian, you should give an opportunity to the next person. So we have 3 questions from Nigeria now, and I think that we should accommodate the next question. The next 3 questions would be from our colleagues across Africa.
No female has spoken.
Please, it doesn't matter. Africa first. Africa.
So I will respond on the question about what is in the BISPARK program that we are offering to the SMEs today. So in BISPARK you will find various things. So you will find all the Microsoft technologies that we have so far. So you will have the licenses to Microsoft technologies, going from Windows to Exchange to SharePoint to whatever. Tools for developers to develop software. And you will also have Azure Access, which is our cloud platform that we are usually selling to our customers. So we are offering you access to Azure for free during 3 years. Every month you have up to $750 access to Azure, which is per year $9,000 access per year. $27 access for the 3 years. So this is something that Microsoft is offering you for free. You have the possibility to get access to the licenses and also free hosting for your solutions. So one other thing, it's not the only thing actually that we are offering in the partnership that we are doing with Tony Elumelu. We created a portal 3 years ago called Bees for Africa, where we help SMEs coming together to share their experiences, but also have access to our expertise. So you will have access to content going from how do you handle your HR to how do you do your marketing, or how you should manage your tax if you are an SME. So we are providing that. We are also working on having volunteers. So I talked about the volunteer program, having volunteers coming to train the entrepreneurs in various domains. And so this is actually helping me responding to the question about farmers, right? So we have been working with few startups. I'm talking about startups because we are mainly focusing in IT, but we are also supporting SMEs on the global way. So we have been working with many startups in the agriculture area. And by the way, the best of them are actually based in Uganda. So congratulations to Uganda. I mean, probably talked about that earlier. What we are proposing is, as I say, the Bees for Africa portal, where you find all the content to help you manage your business and grow your business. So it's not technical, it's really about how you manage a business. And as I also say, we have the volunteer program. So if you are a farmer or if you are an entrepreneur in that area, you can ask to have a volunteer coming from anywhere across the world. So the program, the way it's worked, it's very simple. You just ask, you apply for a volunteer, for someone to come. You just give the description of your project, what you want to achieve. And if someone in Malaysia thinks that he has the right skills to come and help you, we pay for his stay during 1 or 2 weeks to help you on your area. As simple as that. So.
Okay, I'd like to respond to the question regarding the quality of the produce that we want. And I would say it very simply. The first thing is that we have microprocessors on the continent. And basically, because we deal with food, and food drinks, we have to be very sure of the quality of what goes into it. And that is the only way we can sustain the standard and the quality that our products are known for across the world. Now, what I would like to advise is this, if you are a farmer here, I think it's better you pool together with, some other farmers so that you guys can have, something that is sizable to be able to, qualify to supply to some of those processors. And we actually have a program that deals with that. If you are in East Africa, maybe from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, I'm sure you will be very familiar with Project Nurture. Project Nurture is a program that we have developed in partnership with some of the best agronomists and agricultural support organizations around the world, including AGRA and all of that. So what they do is they bring smallholder farmers together. They give them the training that is required, training in terms of yield training, quality, standards, and all of that. And so if you are able to find a processor of fruits that you can supply to, that would be great. If you are in Nigeria, I'm sure you would have heard of Teragro. Teragro is one of the largest fruit processors in Nigeria. And I'm proud to say that Teragro has become, I think, about the first or the second African organization to qualify as an ingredient supplier to the Coca-Cola company. And that is not a mean achievement. Now, to be able to do that, we worked with Teragro for about 3 years, more like a hand-holding kind of thing, helping them through the processes of upgrading, both their production facilities, their quality control processes and everything, helping them to get, all the certifications that are required to be able to become a world-class, provider or producer of juice concentrates. And so that is a very significant achievement. And today, Teragro became one of the first suppliers of juice concentrate for us in Nigeria. If you're on this program, I'm sure you would have probably tasted what we call the juice drink, the pulpy, the orange pulp, 5 Alive pulpy. 5 Alive pulpy became, the first product to use, the juice concentrate that was supplied by Teragro. So that's a significant milestone. And what that has done is that it has opened Teragro up and put them on the world stage, so that now any company can close their eyes and buy from Teragro simply because Teragro has been qualified by Coca-Cola. So that is the kind of opportunity that we're talking about. And so if you are in the agri sector, look for those people who are into food processing, key into them, and then you would be part of that supply chain that we're talking about. We are also pioneering something in Nigeria which is going to be revolutionary for cassava. And what we're trying to do is to bring a sweetener out of cassava, which will become like a complement for sugar. And that is completely going to revolutionize the cassava value chain. We're working in partnership with Cargill, which is the largest starch producer in the world. We're also working in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. And so there is a lot of things that is going to be unlocked within cassava. So if you are in that value chain, I'll ask you to invest more, dig deep, and just wait for that opportunity to come. And once we're able to get that product certified, then of course you can be sure that the future is yours to take.
There's a gentleman from Zimbabwe who wanted to ask a question. Where is he? Where's the gentleman from Zimbabwe? Yes. That's the last question that we will take. Please, we do not have time. We have to, one of the panelists in the next session will be traveling back to the United States of America today. So we'll just take this question. There are a number of people who want to talk to Mr. Awolowo. Please, we will make an opportunity for you to speak with him and ask your questions. There's a couple of people who want to talk to Emeke, and as well as Clem and Madam. So we will make that happen. Please, we apologize. We would have loved to take all of your questions. But please, let's give this opportunity to Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Lawrence Wola. I'm in power generation. But my question is more to Microsoft and Coca-Cola, because intellectual property plays a key role in both your businesses. I know it might sound unrelated to what you have presented, but what advice do you have to the entrepreneurs here on the role of intellectual property in growing up their businesses, making sure that whatever they are coming up with is protected?
think that's a very important question, and really that is what is going to distinguish you as an entrepreneur if you have an idea from somebody else. But I think the lawyers who are in this room are probably better positioned to answer that question. But what I know as a layman is that you have to first of all have your patent, protected. You have to have your intellectual property registered. You have to be sure that you have the rights to those kind of things, that you're talking about. And it is so important, not just, for you to be able to make money from it, being your sweat and your innovation, but also if you do have an investor in the future, those are the kind of things that a critical investor will be looking at to be sure that you actually have the right, to seed or to sell, what you are purporting to sell. And I give you a typical example. For those of you who've been following the news in Nigeria, I'm sure you would have learned that Coca-Cola is acquiring a significant stake in Chi, okay? We were only able to do that because we had the comfort that they have the right, both for all the brands that they produce, and also, they had the intellectual property cover for even the product formulations that they have. So it is very critical. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we think that some things are not important because we don't think it will ever become an issue. But this is not time, to take things for granted. Otherwise, somebody else will eat your cheese.
Thank you so much, sir. We're rounding up now. You want to say something, please? Well, maybe I'll help you.
Hello?
Okay, you found one.
So very quickly, I want to respond to the gentleman on IP, let's say. When I start talking about the initiative, I talked about the fact that we want to build, the basics. If the basics are not there, it will be very difficult for people to innovate and to create new things. So we have a department who is working very strongly and very closely with organizations and countries. So organizations such as COMESA and ECOWAS to have a kind of global agreement with the countries to make sure that when an entrepreneur is coming with an idea, it's protected in Nigeria, but it's also protected in Kenya, in Zambia, etc., etc. That will make their life way, way, way easier. And so we're working on that, and so we will have some announcements that are coming very soon on that.
That's a fantastic one. Thank you. You have something to chip in as well.
Yes. Just also to the Nigerians, the patent system is not only for Zimbabwe. You need to, I was going to talk on that. You need to register your patent. You need to register your idea. I will close out with a quote from Abraham Lincoln. And this quote is based, it's on the big wall of the Commerce Building in Washington, D.C. The Commerce Building is one of the largest government agencies buildings in D.C. And it says, it's Abraham Lincoln saying it, it says the patent system added the fuel of interest to the fire of genius.
Wonderful.
I'll take it again for you. The patent system added the fuel of interest to the fire of genius.
Thank
so
you.
That you protect your patent. It's very important.
Thank you. Before I ask you to thank the panelists for me, Mr. Clement has offered to give you his email address because I know that some of you still want to continue to engage him. And I'm sure the other panelists probably will not mind. So if we start with Emeke, do you want to call out your email address?
Dear entrepreneurs, I just want to end by sharing with you that if your goal, your dream, your idea is not daunting enough, that means it's too small for you. In all the things you need to do to grow, to capacitize, and to scale up, you need financial institutions. UBA is ready, is steady, and available to work with you all the way.
Thank you. So your email address?
So the email address is emeke.adeniyi iweriebor@ubagroup.com.
Thank you, sir.
Just one final advice. We all know how very successful the brand Coca-Cola is. No, I'm not marketing, I'm advising. But the truth is that it wasn't always this successful. It came through a process, and it was a daunting process. The guy who invented Coca-Cola failed in business more than 11 times before he found the formula for Coca-Cola. And even after he found the formula for Coca-Cola, in the first 2 years of Coca-Cola, he didn't sell more than 5 servings a day. So people weren't really interested. So what is the morale? You've got to persevere, you've got to be committed, and you've got to be tenacious in what you believe. My email address is Ugoji spelled as CUGORJI @coca-cola.com.
Thank you. Yours?
Okay, so I need to give a final also advice, sorry.
I was so sure the lady will be compliant because ladies are always compliant.
So I won't say that as I'm not an entrepreneur, so it will be difficult for me to share my experience, but my husband is. And it was quite difficult for him. And I think one advice that I will give to you, based to the experience that I have with him, is don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to start small. You cannot come just one day and become Bill Gates. That's impossible. You have to work, so don't be afraid about that. So my email address, right?
Yes.
So it's dgidial@microsoft.com.
Thank you. No, you will have to see her one-on-one. I trust Mr. Olawo will only give you his email address. No final words.
I will abuse that trust. No, I will close out with another quote. Before I give you my email address. And this is from Bancroft, who was also Secretary of Commerce in the United States. It says, commerce defines every wind. It outrides every tempest, and it invades every zone. So you are in the right business. My email address is s.awolowo, that's s.awolowo, AWOLOWO, @nepc.gov.ng.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
please join me in thanking these wonderful panelists who keep giving and giving more. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
And also, let's thank our moderator, Mrs. Toyin Sani. A round of applause. Please, the panelists, please step this way for a quick group photograph. Thank you. Whilst they are at it, we're gradually getting to the end of today's program. We're going to go into another TED style talk. We're going to go to another TED style talk. We are going to be talking to another set of emerging African innovators. Recall the last session was very interesting. We've put together another excellent panel for you to talk to you about innovations and how the innovations will help your business. Mr. Wolowo, Mr. Ugoji, Mr. Emeka Iwerebo, a number of people want to engage with you, so you please spend a little bit of time at the speakers lounge. So they're going to be making their way to come and meet with you and discuss with you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of today's program, but we still have an important segment which talks about innovations in Africa and how they can help your businesses. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our next moderator. She's the CEO of Avon Healthcare Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mrs. Simbo Ukiri. She's a lawyer, but now a healthcare practitioner. Avon HMO is one of the leading HMOs in Nigeria, and she will be moderating this session. Please make welcome for Ms. Simbo Ukiri. A round of applause for her.
Good evening, everybody. I do not envy myself, neither do I envy my panelists. We seem to be the one standing between you, a good dinner and a good night's rest. So, okay, we will try to keep it very brief but very sweet and impactful. The session that I am going to be moderating is titled Emerging African Innovations. And we have 4 panelists to come and talk to us about what they have been doing recently that qualifies them to come talk to you about how they have used innovation to drive their business forward. The first panelist I am going to call is in a rather unusual area of business, of innovation. Normally when we call, people to these panels to come and speak, we are expecting, for-profit businesses. But she happens to be in a not-for-profit business. Her name is Noella Musanka. She is the founder of Malaika, which is a US charitable organization whose mission it is to empower Congolese girls and their communities through education. So please help me give a round of applause to Noella as she comes up and shares with us how she has been innovating in the world of NGOs.
Good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here. Most of the time I'm invited to speak to a lot of conferences, TED Talk, or in New York. I was honored last year to speak with President Bill Clinton at his forum and to do this closing. But I'm more honored and very humbled to be here and to speak among my sisters and brothers, because I think it's from you that I can learn more instead of going to Western events all over the world. I was born in the Congo, and I lost my dad when I was 5 years old. And my mom didn't have any resources to keep me. So I grew up, I was the only child, I grew up from families in Belgium and Switzerland. And I went to see back my mother after 13 years. I spoke maybe twice with her on the phone. At this time, it was no emails, no phones, or social media. And when I went to see her back, she was living extremely poor. And I promised myself I will not only help her, but I will try to help and do something back for my country and for women's and girls' education. After my study in Switzerland, I went to London. A lot of people were stopping me to do modeling, so I started my career, and for 10 years, I was working between London and New York. And for me, it was not enough deep there because the call of my continent was still calling. So I set up my foundation in New York, where it was about empowering girls and education, a foundation that can empower with quality education, where we train our teachers, where we give a school where it can be like our own children. I have 2 children. My son is 6 and my daughter is 2 years old. For us to build a school in the Congo with all the challenges that Congo knows was not always easy. So we're developing a village in the southern east of the Congo. We always hear about Congo, about the minerals, the war, the rape. But again, this is us that can change this wheel of facts and problems and bring them into solutions. The school is being built step by step. Where are the pictures? No picture, okay, so I will improvise. So the school, every girl starts at 5 years old, and then we grow with them. So we started with 100 for girls, 150, 180, 200, 250, too. Why building every year another classroom? It allows us to learn and to learn about our mistakes, how we can improve, how we can strengthen our curriculum. So our girls have breakfast in the morning, lunches, sport, tennis. We just opened an IT room, a library room. And then for us, it was really to bring the change in the village, that these girls can become an engineer, lawyer, journalists. But you know, when you teach the kids, it's very important that you don't leave out the parents, the community. So 600 meters out of the school, we built a community center with FIFA, where we teach the parents to read, to write, to have leadership skills. We teach the youth and the boys about sports. We talk about through sport family planning. We give every rainy season, we distribute malaria net for the village. We explain how to use them, because I think it's very important just not to give away things. It's important to tell them how to use and then to monitoring the process. So you have the school, you have the community centers, and around this project you have the wells. Every year again we're building one more wells, and until now we have 7 wells and impact more than 14,000 people a year. As myself an African, I try to bring, because who's going to take the water most of the time is girls and mothers. And they work hours and hours. So to allow them to have wells close to them, save their time, and they can really concentrate on the education of their children and invest it into their communities. Next year is our 10 years. For me, I would have never believed that we will have a foundation that way has been built since 10 years. With the challenges that we know in Africa, the challenge that has Congo, an ongoing conflict, economic conflict in the Congo where more than 6 million people died, where on the name of the minerals, the country has been completely looted. But we are the solution. It's very important to invest in the team, to have a structure, to be transparent. My foundation, I don't take any salary out of my foundation, and all the international team is volunteer. We only have one part-time person in New York that we pay. The local staff, of course, is paid. So 91% of the fund we're raising go to the project. But what is the key, I think, of the success of Malaika is the network, is not fundraising, like we were talking, is friend raising. And is to build relationship with individuals and to show them transparency, where the money goes, where the project goes, what does it impact, how can we prove every year. When I'm in front of donors and I raise money for the school or the community center, I don't say, yeah, everything is great, I'm gonna build 100 schools in all over Africa. No, we want to do one quality school where I'm proudly say, if my son doesn't go to English school, he can go to this school in the Congo, where there's only 30 kids in the classroom. My son, 2 weeks ago, he's 6 years old, he did a presentation at his school about Congo. It was my Congo through the eyes of my son. So he was explaining that he go to meet his grandmother every year, that he stay 4 or 5 weeks in the Congo, he go to the school every day, he go to play football, he go to eat with the kids fufu with hands, he go to the village. Instead of bringing toys to his friends in the village, because it's a village where there's no water, electricity, he bring mattress or food to them. So my message is really, believe in yourself as an entrepreneur. I don't know how many of you are social entrepreneurs and investing in social projects. How many of you? So we have like 30% of the room. We need like next year more than 50%. So anyway, thank you very much. You can all visit my website, our website, and if you have any questions, I'm always open. I do a lot of mentoring, and we have a lot of volunteers. I'm always happy to take few mentors, free volunteers a year, and to really mentor them. And I think what is really missing in Africa, how I can help you more, is really the structure of the fundraising and how to approach donors and how to really structure. But more important is always to be transparent where the money goes. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Noella Mansuka.
Musunka.
Musunka. I apologize.
No problem. I like it, Mansuka. That's my new name.
Now, I am going to call on Mr. Obinna Ezeke, and he needs no further introduction. I just need to say waka now. I mean, if we are going to talk about emerging innovations in Africa, I mean, he's a textbook story. So I hope we'll be able to learn a lot from his sharing with us this evening.
I guess it's not. Good evening, everyone. I want to say I'm very honored to be here to speak at this event. I didn't know that this was such a huge event, and this is actually my first time coming to the law school. I must say I'm very impressed. I guess everyone here are all entrepreneurs coming from all over Africa, so this is actually very encouraging to me because I know people are looking at me like, oh, this guy is massive. Well, I don't want people to mob me outside asking me how tall I am. I'm 6'10". I used to be a professional basketball player. So I played in the NBA for 5 years, and I played in Europe for 3 years. I went to University of Maryland, where I studied mechanical engineering and business. So I actually did go to school. So my story is very unique. I grew up in Nigeria. I grew up in Port Harcourt. I'm actually from Imo State, from Imo Olo. So I left Nigeria in 1993 when I went to Worcester Academy. I wanted to play basketball, so I had to leave the country because there was nothing in Nigeria to help me achieve my dream, which is to be a professional basketball player. So I left Nigeria, went to university. I went to school in Worcester Academy in Massachusetts before I got recruited to University of Maryland. Anyway, after, during my career playing basketball, obviously, as a young man, I was, doing pretty well, but I always had this interest in business and in technology. I invested in a company. I was playing for Atlanta Hawks then. I invested in a company that was building a meta search engine, which is Kayak. I don't know if any of you have heard of Kayak. So something like Kayak.com. We're trying to build the same thing. Didn't really work out. Failed, but I learned a lot about the travel business. When I was returned to Nigeria, every year at that time, 2004, 2005, I tried to book a flight from Nigeria and found there was no online travel company in Nigeria. The internet penetration was starting to grow at a very fast rate, likes of MTN and, who else was there? Airtel before this. So I think we were trying to deploy internet in Nigeria. The e-commerce space was virgin, didn't even exist. There was no e-commerce companies here at the time. So I thought it was a wonderful opportunity to actually build an online travel agency. My experience booking a flight here was actually terrible. I had to go to the airline's office. I didn't really have a bank account in Nigeria, so I had to transfer money in to my friend's account, my cousin's account. I had to get the money cash and go to the airline. So the whole process was very tedious and lacked transparency. And the fact that I used Expedia a lot when I was in the US gave me a lot of insight as to how those kind of platforms worked. So I did a lot of study, and I tell people in this room, the entrepreneurs, if you're ever going to go into anything, you must actually spend a lot of time studying about the field in which you operate. You have to benchmark yourself against the best in the world. I don't think there's anyone here doing something that's never been done around the world before. So we all have to understand that who are the best people that have done this around the world. You have to understand the processes of how they got to that position. The most important thing is to find a solution for your own local community. So when we started building Wakana, it wasn't about being like, yes, we want to be like Expedia, but it was about finding the solution for what the issues that the Nigerian traveler faced. And we built many issues where, first of all, we had to build the technology to allow for transparent booking process, simplified booking process. We also had to solve the major problem of payments. At that time, InterSwitch was just a very small company. And so we had to work with InterSwitch to create the online payment solution, to work with them to finalize the online payment solution. We had to create other payment solutions that we partnered with the banks, so we integrated with a lot of the banks. Today, if you go to most of the banking applications, you will see Wakana powering their flights booking engine. So a lot of the work we've been doing is focused on enabling the easy payment, easy booking process for the customer, especially on mobile. So now, here in this room, everybody here has a mobile phone. Yeah? Everybody here, who doesn't have a smartphone? You don't have a smartphone. Do you have a smartphone? I hope everybody knows what a smartphone is. But most people in this room, and most people that you use on the phones now, have a smartphone. So everything that we're doing today, if you're talking about developing technologies that would help your business, you really have to focus on the mobile platform. And the mobile platform is so different from the desktop, the smaller screen. So a lot of issues with slow internet speed, you have to focus on making sure that your applications are very light and able to be accessible in really fast time. How many people get frustrated when they try to log into a mobile site and it takes too long? How many of you leave the mobile site? Thank you. So anyway, I think we're going to have some more time to talk. Thank you very much.
Please, a second round of applause for Obinna. I had to interrupt him because I was very mindful of the fact that, you know, we don't have a lot of time left this evening. So without much ado, I'm going to call on the next speaker. We've had two entrepreneurs talk to us now. We've had Noella and we've had Obinna. Now we're going to call on Tony Elumelu Foundation entrepreneurs from last year. So we have two success stories from last year, and the first person I'd like to call is Mavis Nduchwa. I hope I pronounced that well. Round of applause, please. Mavis is a real estate and hospitality graduate turned TV presenter and now turned farmer. She has actually done it all, and her journey to entrepreneurship started when she was still in secondary school, buying and selling sweets while in boarding. So I'm going to leave the floor to her now. Mavis, you have about 3 minutes to quickly tell us, you know, how you've been innovating and how this has turned you into a successful entrepreneur.
Thank you. I will try and stick to 3 minutes. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, and those that don't conform, good evening. My name is Mavis Nduchwa, born to a Botswanian mother and a Malawian father, and I'm married to a Lesotho national. So, so if that doesn't make me African, then I don't know. So basically, I'll try and be brief. My journey started in 2010 when I returned back from Namibia, where I had been studying. Coming back to my community, I saw that a lot of women and girls were not doing much. So I decided that, okay, let me do something to help them. So what came to mind was, okay, poultry. So we decided to start a small poultry project. I think back then I was young and naive, you know. I thought I could do it all. Started it up, employed people, And I'm not ashamed to stand here and tell you that I failed many times. So fast forward to 2013, we tried it again, and we had a couple of hiccups until early last year when we heard of the Tony Elumelu program. I decided then, okay, let me try and join the program, of which I did, and I was nominated. And I went through the 12 weeks, right? 12 weeks training program. And then, just like you, we came for the boot camp. And then suddenly everything started making sense. And now looking back to the years that I've been failing, I realized that actually because I had decided to use money out of my pocket, the biggest mistake that I made was I did not have a business plan, because I was under the assumption that it's my money, you know, I can do what I want. So the other thing was, you know, I did not do a market research. So basically I wasn't sure who's my customer, you know, I did not define my product. So when we got the seed funding, we decided, okay, let's get started. We did start again. And this time around, the first thing we did is we sat down, we did a business plan from what we had learned. And we were able to actually realize that there's actually a huge gap in the market, not only in poultry, but in egg production. Because Botswana, as it is, in the northern part of the country, there isn't much egg production happening. So we saw that opportunity and we started approaching shops such as ShopRite. I don't know if you're familiar with ShopRite. Yes. And then we did both eggs and meat. But then the other thing that had made us fail in the past was we used to sell our product as a whole product. So by so doing, we didn't make any profits. So now that we had the knowledge from TIP, came another challenge. We were able to see, looking at our profits, that actually we're not making as much profits as we should be. Reason being, the escalating prices of feeds. Botswana on its own, we do not manufacture any feeds. All the feeds come from South Africa. So we saw an opportunity to then, okay, let's try and work with the government. They provided a nutritionist, of which then they helped us formulate the feeds, and which is what we're currently working with small-scale farmers to use their agricultural surplus to try and get the project going in terms of feed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mavis. Now we have the last panelist coming up to join us. She's also a Tony Elumelu Foundation entrepreneur from last year. She's an alumni. And her name is Odua Agbunemi. Odua is the CEO and co-founder at Nenis Engineering Limited. It's also called Nenis Auto Care. So there you see a woman engineer in a man's world. She's also a 2016 Young African Leadership Initiative alumni and a 2016 beneficiary of the EDC World Bank Women X Scholarship. So when I say she's a woman making waves in a man's world, you know what I mean.
Thank you very much, Ma. Good evening, my fellow Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs. I'm excited to be in your midst. A year ago, I was in this same boot camp, and I really enjoyed it. I'm happy I started my career with the training. I started my business in 2015, and my business is like, when I tell people my business is a year old, they are like, wow, are you sure? But the secret is the training I got from Tony Elumelu Foundation. And I'm so grateful to them. Like we've all heard, I'm in an unusual industry, but I believe success has nothing to do with a gender. As a man, you can be successful. as a woman, you can be successful. You can break barriers. You can achieve in a stereotypical environment. I don't believe in this field is a male-dominated field. There's nothing like that, as long as you have your brains. Okay, like in the automobile industry, we know there are just few ladies like myself and the lady mechanic, Mrs. Sandra Agwebo. But we've been able to challenge the status quo. People say that automobile maintenance is all about strength. But I must tell you this day, it's not about strength, but it's all about technology. Because technology has made it very, very easy, I must say. With a computer diagnostic machine, I can detect a fault in a vehicle, be it transmission, be it an engine, be it electrical. So I'm good to go. Even with the power tools, I can unscrew a boat in less than 3 seconds. And we have achieved a lot because of the internet, the social media. We are just a year old, and we have a lot of clients. We do the vehicle inspections for Uber vehicles. We are the first professional service center in Nigeria to handle that in less than a year. And through social media, a lot of people can reach us. So if your business is not yet on the social media, please I advise you, let it be. Look amongst yourselves. Like my web developer is a fellow Elumelu entrepreneur. Jamal, I saw him around. Yes, he's over there. He's my web developer. So he has been able to help me bring out my business. So I would advise us, please, let's be able, because with it we can achieve a lot. I was surprised the day I got a call from Hess Holdings that, is this Nenny Soto Care? I said, yes. He said, okay, the chairman has authorized us to come and assess your garage. I said, oh, please come. They heard about what we did for Uber and also Checky. Right now, we do vehicle inspections for Checky and other car dealerships and even insurance companies. Why? We didn't go there to market ourselves. But with the aid of internet, we've been able to reach the world. So, I want to please encourage us that please keep breaking barriers. Try your hands on new challenges. Thank you very much.
You have to agree with me that, I mean, this was worth the wait, wasn't it? I'm just going to highlight a few key points from each of the panelists, and then I'm going to throw the floor open to questions. So I'm going to start with Noella. I mean, she's an area of business, well, I don't even really know whether I should call it business. It's not for profit, but she's been able to make it successful. I mean, something that stood out was the fact that, you know, she emphasized that collaboration was a great part of why she was successful. She worked with FIFA to also establish a community center because she realizes that you can't really impact the girls of a community without doing something that brings the community in to work with you and to support you in what you're doing, because all the girls are part of a family. And she also spoke about working with the government of her country. Now, from Obina, what I got was that, you know, you can't ignore technology. And every time we look around us, technology is opening people's eyes to new frontiers that haven't been explored before. There are gaps that you can see in the market that you can address with whatever service or whatever goods that you want to offer to the market. Well, from Mavis, I mean, it's just amazing how her attendance at the boot camp last year opened her eyes to how much of a value was in preparing a business plan and in doing all those other things that, you know, most entrepreneurs don't think too much of when they start because you feel you're not asking anybody for money. So, you know, it's yours to use for your business as you deem fit. But having some kind of formal structure that guides you in how you take business decisions and how you plan for your business to go forward has contributed a great deal to her success as far as I can see. And I mean, Odua's own talk was really inspiring. You know, again, she talked about technology and how the use of social media had enabled her to tap into markets that, you know, it would have taken any other entrepreneur years and years of banging on doors to get them to listen to her. So I'm going to just throw the floor open to the audience and see, you know, whether we can address a few questions before we round up for the evening. So the floor is yours, gentlemen and ladies.
Hello? One is here. All right. My name is Stephen Ugo from Akwa Ibom State. My question goes to Mrs. Noela Masuka.
Musunka.
Musunka, okay, sorry.
I'm joking. Just call me Noela.
All right. You said about 91% of the fund raised by your initiative is channeled back into the initiative and you take no salaries. My question is, actually, shortly before graduation from the university, I started an initiative I call Empower 100 Project. It's an initiative targeted at leadership development, capacity building, and youth empowerment. And the question I'm about to ask is the challenge I'm facing in the initiative right now. You said you take no salary and about almost 100% of the funds is invested back into the initiative. My question is this: how do you attract, you said you use volunteers, how do you attract these volunteers, how do you retain them, and how do you maintain them? Because that's what I am finding very, very difficult in my initiative. Thank you.
First of all, you have to be a mentor to themselves. They have to see that you work very hard. And I think my team is fed up of me receiving email at midnight or 1 a.m. One of my colleagues is here, Yamando. So they see me working very hard, so they want to give the best of themselves. All our volunteers have a full-time job, most of them, 70%. So they have a full-time job where they make their money, and they donate between 10 to 20% of the time during the week. So they're giving 10 hours a week. So we have 25 people volunteer internationally. And out of the 25 people, we have maybe 8, 10 students that they're giving between 15 and 20 hours a week. So we have internationally 25 people. But all the staff on the ground, we pay them, and they all, the average salary in Congo is $70, $50, but we pay them like around $350. So we really remunerate them well. The key is the donors that we have. They donate either in money donation or they give in goods. Like we have a partnership with Unilever. They give the soap, the toothpaste. They come to teach the hygiene program at the school and at the community center. Or we have another company that give all the flour and the rice to the program of the lunch because it's a free school. So you have different kind of donation in goods or in donation monetary. So did I answer your question? Thank you.
Good evening all. My name is Nathaniel Okoli. I'm into ebook publishing and writers, readers, networking. My question goes to Mr. Obina. And prior to launching Waka Now, did you have any coding or technical know-how experience? And if no, how were you able to build a company like on that scale, as in if you don't have a technical know-how or experience? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. I have zero coding skills. What I had was the vision. And I tell people all the time that if you're going to do something and you don't have the skill, you find the people that have the skill. What I had was a vision. I knew exactly what I wanted. It's like going to build a house. I don't necessarily have to know how to build a house, but I know to go find an architect. I know to go find an engineer. And I was able to put very good pieces together to be able to build the company. So it was all about, for me, it was all about the people, the team that I was able to build. My partner, who was critical to my knowledge of the local Nigerian market. I remember I left Nigeria when I was 18. I came back when I was 32, so I was gone for about 16 years. So 14 years. So it was necessary for me to understand the business climate in Nigeria. So my partner, who was a former banker and all that, really helped in that area. So it was all about putting the right people together. We have a wonderful technology team. Our technology is actually built built in India. So we built a technology in India. So it was all about finding the right people to do the job in this area.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
So,
I'm Nandi.
Where are you speaking from?
From this end.
Wow. Okay, that was an interesting one. So we're just going to take these 4 questions. And so go on, Namdi, please.
Okay, I'm Namdi. I am Sonopact Services Nigeria. We're into providing ultrasound services to patients at their hospital of care and also equipment. So my question goes to the engineer lady. You are talking about B2B marketing using social media. I want to get some specifics from you because you try to build maybe a fan page or some other stuff and it's not working. So I don't know, are you the one handling the campaigns, the social media campaigns? And if you know what Jamil has been doing to help you make conversions and gather leads. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Like my senior colleague, who's a mechanical engineer, also said, what you don't have, outsource it. What you cannot do, outsource it. Like my web development, my social media campaign, everything, I outsourced it to Jamal. Even my human resource management, I also outsourced it to Elumelu entrepreneur, Kennedy Osaige. He's not here because I'm more of a technical person, but I want to reach out. So I have to do what I need to do to make more sales. So I advise you can also outsource everything, your Facebook page, or if you want to have an in-house person, you can do that. But if you know you don't have that time, please outsource it. Thank you.
Yeah, Obina has a few comments to add to that.
Just one more thing. You have to understand this whole issue about technology because people misunderstand what the use of technology. The main issue here as an entrepreneur is that you're trying to find solutions to a particular problem in the society. So for me, what I really focus on is I find the solutions to what the customers want or need, or what they don't even know that they need, but they will need when we provide it to them. So the most important thing for me is coming up with solutions that my technology team, our technology team, now develops the necessary technology to be able to present that to the customers. So you must understand it's a step process about first finding the solution, then develop the technology to provide that to the customers. That's very important. Thank you.
Please go on.
Samuel Okpa is my name. My startup is Skytrain Electronics, and we are basically into electronic designs. We argue that as Africans, we cannot just continue to learn how to use technology, that we can create them someday. Now, what the challenges we are having, it's about packaging. Like, we will do amazing designs, and the functionality are okay. But because of the funding around us, we want to use local methods of packaging them. They are not coming out very well. So, like what people want to compare us with. It's not in the functionality now, it's in the packaging. So what advices can we get to how to go around it? And then we also need, how can we also assess more technical partners? Because here we are doing a lot of things and then leveraging on the networks that we have, because indeed a lot of Nigerians are creating a lot of things. I studied electrical engineering and understand the value of the projects that people do in school, but they don't turn it to products outside. And that's what we are trying to do. But what we are saying is, how can we get more technical partners that can help us? Because there are some products that people just want to create to fit them. These things are not in the market. They want to customize it to what they need. So because this is a need that we can tackle as Africa. They can't do it better than we can do it here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. For that, it's very easy for you to find a partner, be it a technical partner, be it a financial partner. As an entrepreneur, please open your eyes, and they are there. Like I said, I'm just a year in business. I've been able to go through Tony Elumelu's program, President Obama's Young African Leadership, and World Bank Women X, even Bank of Industries ESP. Why? In a year, I open my eyes. And when you go to places like this, you see people. Don't be scared of sharing your ideas. I think the problem we have, we're always scared that if we say it out, they will steal it. Please, let's move past that mindset. They won't steal it. As entrepreneurs, please, let's not just stop with this Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurs program and relax. Go for more. If they even hear that you are a Tony Elumelu Foundation's entrepreneur, it opens doors. Please, please, my fellow entrepreneurs, please let's be open.
Don't say that, Bob.
Let's
That
allow
same
the lady,
question.
please. Are you adding?
No, the question about packaging, I think there's a very big gap in what you're talking about, because I always see, if you look at the quality of the packaging that we produce in Nigeria, is actually very, very poor. And there are very, very few people producing high quality packaging for products. That's another area that I can tell you for sure as entrepreneurs that people should be looking at. There's a very, very big gap there. In terms of technical skills, for us as a company, I just came back from Dubai yesterday, and we had a strategy session. So I have technology teams in India, in Dubai, in Norway, and the US. There's also a huge gap in terms of software developers in this country. And that's another area that I don't know what our educational system is doing to solve this problem. It's a very, very big problem. And I must tell you, going around all these conferences around the world, we are being left behind. If you see what Google and all these companies are developing worldwide, most of the jobs that you think are relevant jobs today are going to be wiped out in the next 5 years. They're innovating driverless cars. They're doing all kinds of things that in the next 5 to 10 years, the normal jobs that you know today will no longer be relevant. And we must now, as a country, go back and make sure that educational institutions are focused on ensuring that our students that we're producing are being tilted towards more technology-based and software development. It's very, very critical. Thank you.
We'll take more questions now.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Anyanwu. I'm into tiger nut processing. All through the sessions this morning, we've been hearing about my partners. How do you enter into these partnerships? What do you give out? What are the terms to enter into lasting partnerships? I think that's basically my question. I want to know what to do. How do you assess these partners? One, what terms do you go into in these partnerships for them to last? Thank you.
Mavis will take this one.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. In terms of partnership, for us, the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs, it was sort of easy because all the 1,000 were put in one portal, so we're able to network, and when we came for the boot camp, we started knowing each other. But back at home, the most important thing I can advise you is to build strong networks around your community, get to know people, and whenever we think partnerships, we always thinking investors, but that's where we are wrong, because partnership doesn't necessarily mean, investors. I've got partners with people that deliver my products. I've got people that supply me with my packaging material. Those are my partners. So it is very important to keep those partnerships. I don't know if that answered your question.
Was that helpful?
I think she's talking about when you're setting up a company, right? And not to say that's also very, very, very important in terms of understanding who your partners are. But I would say that I've had 3 experiences in business. The first business that I set up failed because of the partner was wrong. It wasn't because the idea wasn't right. It was because the partner was wrong. My partner now, I would say is divine intervention. I don't know how else to say it, but you meet someone that immediately gets the vision you see, that is willing to have the same kind of work ethic, that is not greedy and selfish. The biggest problem is that when we get into these partnerships, I'm talking about company partnerships, that people tend to feel it's about me. It's not about me. My company is about we. So I make sure that everything that we're doing is about us. It's about collectively ensuring that we are working together towards one goal. And then we all have our strengths and weaknesses. What I'm good at, he knows that I'm good at this. And I take on those responsibilities of ensuring. What I know he's good at, he's great at operations. I let him handle most of the operations and add in my own 2 cents once in a while. So it's very, very important in terms of finding the right partner. And this is critical to success if your business is going to succeed, if you're going to do it into a partnership. And to make sure you take your time to ensure that you see the signs early. If this is not going to work, you make sure you stop that relationship and go on and find the right person. Because the longer you go in that partnership, it's not working. Just like anything in marriage or anything else, it's about having that relationship and that chemistry. Thank you.
Can I quickly touch up on partnership? From my side, my business partner is my partner as in my husband. So he's more of a sleeping partner because he's a civil engineer by profession. So for him, he comes in handy when we have to erect structures. So that was quite natural for me to choose him as a partner in terms of starting up that, okay, by Monday you should have doubled up this money, and then we're put up in groups. So the biggest mistake that we made was we did not go into any contract. We just dived in, and then come Monday, some people had not done anything. So when you think in partnership, it is very important to think also of legalities. If you're going to be trusting this person to share the rest of your life in terms of business, it is very important to put it down, note everything down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you can please give our panelists another round of applause. One more question. Do we have time for one more?
Yes, just one more.
Thank you very much. Simon Peter Waigumba is my name, from Uganda. And I would like also to take this opportunity to thank the Tony Elumelu Foundation for the golden chance. This is a one-lifetime opportunity. My question goes to any of the panelists. We've always been told you could be discouraged about an idea and just stand firm with it, carry it on. But I would like to ask the other way around. Has any of you had an experience where you had to start up something, but it appears too good? Everybody says, this is very good, this is very good. Shouldn't it instead cause, isn't it a reason for worrying? Shouldn't somebody be worried about everybody saying good about it? Thank you.
Thank you. If I was in your shoes, I would actually be quite happy because that means I've got a winning formula. You know, if everybody is complimenting me, then I suppose I'm good to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to support that as well as I round up to say that, you know, if you have a business idea and you've started to implement your business idea and everybody around you just compliments you about, you know, how good your business is, then don't change, just keep going in that direction. That means it's good, you know. There's no reason to fear and to think, you know, maybe some, I don't know, bad luck is going to come your way if you acknowledge that what you're doing is a good thing. I don't think so. So as we round up, I just would like to share with you some key points that I got from our panelists today. The first, well, that I would mention is the partnership, because it's what we've spent the last few minutes discussing, and the importance of choosing the right partners and ensuring that even as you start with the right partners, you put a legal framework behind what you do together. There's also been points made about outsourcing. You don't have to be a master of all. You know, you can outsource parts of your business to the specialists and the professionals who do it best. There's the need to identify the market gaps and be sure that the solution you are preferring is meeting a need that is unmet in the market. And there's the need to recognize the power of internet and technology.
Sorry, it's not over yet. Please hold on. There are important announcements. Please do stay in your seats. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah. So, with this point, I'd like to say thank you very much for staying till the end of this program today. It's been a pleasure moderating, and have a pleasant evening.
So let's give a round of applause to our fantastic host. Thank you. Please, photograph, please. Yes. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please. Thank you very much. Let's appreciate that round of applause again. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a day, right? I didn't hear that word. What a day, right? You mean I slept at 3 a.m. for nothing today? What a day, right? Powerful. Thank you all so much. Paminda will come up to say a few last words, but I just want to run through some key announcements. And I'd appreciate if you pay attention, please. Very key announcement. So apologies for this morning. I know there was some miscommunication, and as a result, some people had breakfast late. I apologize for that. Okay. So to avoid that happening, hello. Please be informed that breakfast is open between 6 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. Okay? There are quite a number of us here, so we need to make time to come into the room because we start at 8 o'clock sharp. As you know, we started late today, right? So that's why we had to rush some sessions. Like the network session, a lot of people said I was too short. They were short because we were late. And when we go out for meals or any such break, I would like to appeal that we stick to the time that has been allotted, okay? So that we also show some respect to the people who have come to speak with us. My gentleman, please, thank you. Okay. Now, tomorrow is a very packed day, okay? Thanks for the music. So tomorrow is a packed day. We have Mr. Tony Elumelu coming to be with us tomorrow. I'm sure you saw Paminda's little video earlier on today. We are going to be watching the full video tomorrow. Believe me, you want to be here tomorrow. And you want to get here on time, by the way, because we have a large number of people who have taken time out of their schedule to come be with us tomorrow. We will have at least 400 external guests coming in here to join you. And if you think today's security was tight, it was child's play. Because tomorrow's security is going to be quite stringent, okay? So I would like to appeal that we leave the dining hall early enough to come in, because truly when they shut the doors tomorrow, you really will not be able to come in. And it will be such a shame, okay? So it's about you, right? The Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum is about who? So let's be here. And tomorrow, you got your T-shirt, right? Okay, interesting. You got your T-shirt, right? Okay, if you haven't received your T-shirt, I'll ask that you please go to the registration booth, right? They are there all through to get your shirt, because we are wearing the T-shirts tomorrow. Remember that picture? You've been seeing it on screen, right? So tomorrow is your time to have yours. Okay? Hello? So you have your time to wear it tomorrow. Please, again, breakfast between 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. There will be greater security screening tomorrow because of the profile of people who are coming in. I want it to be a surprise, but you will like it. So tomorrow as well, in the morning when we first come in, we can sit as we like. But when we break, hello? Okay, my voice is almost gone. Please try, bear with me. But tomorrow we have, starting at 8 o'clock, earlier on, there were some questions about business plan. I had a good laugh because I remember doing accounting and how we used to have all those issues, balancing those numbers. Tomorrow, we have 2 hours of 2 different people coming to talk to us about accessing finance. 2 different people. They will come talk to us about accessing finance. I'm sure we saw Sam Wanze, our Director of Finance and Investment. He trended last year. You want to be here for Sam's session. You want to be here for all the sessions. We have Matthew Person as well. They're going to spend 2 hours with us on finance. And believe me, it's something you want to do, okay? Then we'll also have other high-level panelists, like policy people, come talk to us. And you also have an opportunity to engage with them. Again, it's going to be a fantastic day, but please just make sure you are here on. So when we start in the morning, so we have our breakfast, we come in, then we'll have, at about 11, you will break for what we're going to call a heavy tea break. Yes, because we're going to come back into the room, and the session will run from 11:30 a.m. all the way to 5 p.m. So we're entrepreneurs and we're what? Resi. I'm not convinced. We're Resi? Yes. Exactly. So we will have that heavy tea break, really heavy. That means you're going to get something really substantial to eat. Fill up your stomach well. We'll pass around water and everything in the room, so don't worry. There will be no starvation or suffering, I promise you. But just to let you know, this is the plan of what tomorrow is going to be like. For this evening, in the cafe, we were going to have an open-air cinema. But remember what happened earlier on? It rained. But with the beautiful organizers, they're somewhere in the back there, just wave, right? They've taken it to the dining hall, so when we are done with dinner, we'll just have a very lovely movie, and we have time to network, bond. Please get to know yourselves. It's really important. This is somebody who I went for my grad school because someone I met at this kind of forum co-signed my loan to get a loan from the United States. That's how I went to grad school. That was how I funded my education. I have never met that guy since I saw him then. We're together for 2 weeks, and he co-funded my loan. So please make your network. I don't want to spend too much time. Let me let Paminda. Remember Paminda?
Thank you, dear Owen. Look, you guys, this would not have happened if this woman hadn't stepped in just 6 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. She made it happen. So big round of applause for Owen. Okay, so somebody said to me, Paminda, your energy, for a 61-year-old woman, that's not bad, is infectious. And you know why I have this energy. I should be retiring. I should be sitting on a mountain somewhere. It's because of you, the entrepreneurs. I mean, you know, oh my God. I get goose pimples when I hear stories that one entrepreneur, Momar, has raised 1.2 million. He's generated that income as a result of the opportunity that the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program provided him. You heard the story about the woman mechanic workshop, right? You are all going to build your businesses in the same way. You are our energy. You are our engine. 12 hours of being in this room, gathering the most phenomenal knowledge, networking with each other is worth every minute of those 12 hours. Do not waste it, yeah? You're never gonna have, well, I hope you will have this opportunity to do this again virtually on our TEF hub, which will be up and live. But this is a precious, precious moment. And what's even more important is that we've achieved it here in Africa, that we haven't had to go out. And what's also beautiful is that we have brought people from outside of Africa to come and experience this extraordinary creativity, ingenuity, magic that is African entrepreneurship and African entrepreneurs. So now, go have fun, go eat, but don't sleep, all right? You don't need sleep, okay? Network, talk to each other, have fun, and see you back tomorrow morning.
What?